The royal trend. Princess Leonor's Denmark wedding inspires 2025 brides worldwide. It began like any royal wedding, the promise of elegance, tradition, and luxury. But what unfolded in Copenhagen in 2025 became something far bigger. It didn't just capture hearts, it changed how the world sees love, marriage, and modern royalty. Because while many expected a ceremony of protocol and perfection, Princess Leonor of Spain gave us something else, something entirely new. She gave us authenticity. And that, more than the diamonds, more than the title, more than the crown, is what made her wedding the royal trend that every 2025 bride wants to follow. When the day arrived, the world tuned in. Millions watched from Madrid to London, from New York to Tokyo. But no one could have predicted what they were about to witness, a young woman stepping out of royal formality and into timeless influence. The morning light over Copenhagen painted the city in soft gold. The streets were alive, a blend of Danish charm and Spanish pride. Two nations, two cultures, united by one royal story. As the cathedral bells rang, an expectant hush fell. The royal carriage turned the corner, and inside, there she was. Princess Leonor of Spain, dressed in a masterpiece that instantly broke global fashion silence. Her gown was unlike anything seen in recent royal history. It wasn't about excess, it was about essence. Handcrafted from Spanish silk, embroidered with Danish lace, and adorned with symbolic motifs representing unity and renewal. Every stitch told a story, every shimmer held meaning. It was a dress that whispered power through simplicity, grace through detail. The world stopped scrolling. Fashion editors paused mid-sentence. Within minutes, the image went viral. But what truly stunned people wasn't the dress itself, it was her. Leonor carried herself with quiet confidence, that rare balance between regal and real. You could see it in her eyes, not fear, not duty, but peace. The peace of someone who knows exactly who she is and what she stands for. She walked into the cathedral with her father, King Felipe VI, their hands gently linked, a moment that spoke volumes about legacy and transition. The king's gaze was filled with pride and nostalgia. His daughter was no longer just the heir to the Spanish throne, she was becoming a symbol of modern monarchy. At the altar, Denmark's Prince Christian waited, tall, composed, yet visibly emotional. The two locked eyes, and suddenly, the formality melted. You could almost feel the unspoken story between them, years of quiet friendship, love nurtured away from the spotlight, now culminating in a ceremony that would echo through generations. Their vows were intimate yet powerful. She spoke of unity, of compassion, of service beyond borders. He promised partnership, equality, and shared vision. Their words transcended titles, they sounded like two souls speaking truth, not two royals fulfilling expectation. And when they sealed it with a kiss, the applause that erupted inside the cathedral wasn't just celebration, it was history being made. Outside, the crowds were uncontrollable. People from every corner of Europe waved flags, cried tears of joy, and sang Spanish and Danish anthems in harmony. For once, royal tradition didn't divide, it united. By the time the newlyweds stepped onto the balcony, social media had exploded. The hashtags trended globally. Millions reposted clips of her arrival, her speech, her dress. In under 2 hours, Princess Leonor's wedding had become the visual language of love for a generation. But it wasn't just fashion or romance, it was transformation. Because Leonor had quietly rewritten the royal playbook. Instead of choosing opulence, she chose symbolism. Instead of formality, she chose heart. Instead of separation from the people, she embraced them. Every detail reflected that modern vision. Her bouquet was composed of flowers from both nations, tied with a ribbon embroidered with a message: Dos corazones, un futuro, 2 hearts, 1 future. Her tiara, a gift from Queen Letizia, was delicately redesigned, smaller, lighter, more modern, a symbolic nod to a generation of women who wear power differently. Even her shoes, designed by a Spanish artisan, bore a hidden engraving, the initials, L and C, and the date, a reminder that behind the monarchy, there is always humanity. At the reception, the fusion of Spanish and Danish culture continued. Guests were served dishes that blended Mediterranean warmth with Nordic sophistication, gazpacho infused with Danish herbs, salmon glazed with Andalusian olive oil. Every bite, every note of the music, every color of the decor told a story of harmony. But then came the speech, the moment that turned admiration into inspiration. Princess Leonor took the stage. Her voice was calm, confident, and resonant. She said, "Today is not just about our union, it's about what love can represent in the modern world. Love that transcends borders. Love that honors where we come from, yet welcomes where we're going. Love that reminds us that tradition does not mean limitation, it means foundation." You could feel it, every word landing deeply, especially among young women watching from around the world. Within hours, the quote went viral. Brides-to-be began reshaping their wedding visions, less about extravagance, more about meaning. Fashion houses rushed to reinterpret the Leonor look. Magazines called it the new era of royal simplicity. And for the first time, a royal wedding wasn't about imitation, it was about inspiration. Because Leonor had done what few could, she made royalty feel human again. She showed that elegance isn't about price, it's about purpose. That style isn't about showing off, it's about showing who you are. And that love, true love, can be both timeless and transformative. In Spain, celebrations lasted for days. The royal palace illuminated in gold and red, music echoing through the streets of Madrid. Families gathered in plazas, toasting to their young queen in waiting who had just brought honor and joy to her nation. Meanwhile, Denmark glowed with pride. Citizens spoke of how their young prince and his bride embodied a new chapter of openness and diplomacy. It wasn't just a marriage, it was a message. But even after the carriages rolled away and the fireworks faded, one thing remained: the influence. Within weeks, global designers began releasing Leonor-inspired bridal collections, sleek, elegant, minimalist, and meaningful. Wedding planners noted a surge in couples wanting purpose-driven ceremonies. Social media dubbed it the Leonor effect. Brides began quoting her speech in their vows. Florists replicated her bouquet. Even the subtle, clean tone of her makeup became a trend, dubbed the royal glow. Everywhere, Leonor's wedding became the template for a new kind of elegance, one that celebrates authenticity over perfection. But the story behind her poise was deeper than people realized. Those close to her revealed that Leonor had spent months personally planning every element of the day, not for extravagance, but for connection. She wanted every guest, from world leaders to ordinary citizens watching online, to feel part of something bigger. She said to her team weeks before the ceremony, "Let this be a wedding that heals hearts. Not just ours, but the world's." And perhaps, in its own quiet way, it did. Because 2025 had been a year of global tension, political divides, cultural shifts, uncertainty. Yet for one weekend, the world united in watching something pure. And in that unity, people rediscovered something powerful: hope. Princess Leonor's wedding reminded us that no matter how the world changes, love remains the ultimate force that brings people together. It inspired brides, designers, dreamers, and even skeptics to believe again in the beauty of sincerity. Her story became a cultural reset, the moment royalty stopped being distant and became relatable. The moment tradition met evolution. The moment Europe, and perhaps the world, remembered what grace truly means. As the cameras faded and the couple retreated into their new life together, Leonor's final public words from that day echoed across social media for weeks. "May every love story, royal or not, be written with the courage to be real." And that's exactly what she gave the world: reality with radiance, simplicity with soul. The 2025 royal wedding of Princess Leonor of Spain didn't just crown a love story, it set a new global standard for what love, marriage, and modern elegance truly mean. A royal fairy tale, yes, but more importantly, a human one. And as brides across the world take inspiration from her grace, her courage, and her truth, one thing is certain: the royal trend she started will not fade. It has become a legacy, one stitched in silk, sealed with love, and destined to inspire for generations.